going to jump right in since I know it's going to be a recording. So my name is Shauna Mary Brown. I show sisters how to heal themselves. I'm the owner of Kindred Wellness, and most of you probably know me best from the Healer Sister Project, where we use movement, meditation, and sacred space to show sisters how to get their ish together. I'm also an integrative psychotherapist. I'm a blossoming Qigong instructor, and really excited to connect again. All right. So, usually when we think about procrastination, or when we think about the cause of procrastination, folks like to think of it as like that it's because you're lazy. You know, you don't have any motivation. It's just because you're lazy. Or the famous statement, I just don't feel like it. I'm gonna get to it eventually. You know, and while, you know, some folks might be lazy, I would say that the root of procrastination is actually fear. And it could be fear of success, fear of failure, right? What's the point of me even trying to do this thing? It's not going to work out right. I'm not going to get the outcome that I feel like I really need anyway. I'm not going to do it right. I don't have what I need to get it done. You know, so fear of the fact that, you know, the thought that I'm not going to get it right. And so when we're talking about thoughts, one of the underlying things that fuels the fear of failure, is the way that we talk to ourselves. And so I'm going to give you an example. So, you know, I've been in business and my wellness practice for a few years now, first starting working with young girls with the CC Circle, and then later sort of blossoming into being able to serve as a psychotherapist. And now I'm at a point in my career where I am full-time, self-employed, and I'm scared, right? But I know that it's time for me to step it up. So, you know, I saw, you know, someone online, a PR professional, and she is known for doing the damn thing, like really getting people to where they need to be to really blossom and walk into it. And so I sent an inquiry thinking, all right, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to just see what go down. And she responded like, oh, I love what you're doing. Please schedule the appointment so that we can have our discovery session, right? And I just looked at it and didn't do nothing. And I avoided it. Like, I saw the email, I read it a couple of times, and I did nothing, you know? And then, you know, I was like, I realized, okay, I'm procrastinating. What is the root of that? And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about like the steps that I took to be able to get my ish together, because I did in fact actually schedule the appointment. It hasn't happened yet. I'm still scared, but I'm feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And so negative self-talk is what keeps it alive, right? Negative self-talk is what keeps us from doing the things that we're afraid of doing. And so for me, my negative self-talk was, maybe I'm not really as good as I think I am. Maybe I'm not a really good speaker. Maybe I need to know more. I need to do more. Or I ain't got the money. You know, these excuses, knowing good and well that I find ways to get stuff done when it's necessary. So the 4 steps that I took was first being honest with myself. And so I've made it a practice of checking myself and really analyzing, you know, what is it that is really, what's the root of my behavior? And so, you know, what I do is I'd write out, you know, I always figure this stuff out about myself when in my journal. I have a journal, please go and get one. I got a new one today, and when I find it, I'm going to show y'all. So in my journal, I write about, you know, what are some of the things that are keeping me from my goals. And so when I did my journal, my new journal, y'all, yeah, it's yellow, it says fabulous, and it got the gold sided. Okay, I'm focused. So when I, you know, did my reflection is when I realized that the root of the reason why I was not responding is because it was a fear of public speaking. And yes, while I do it a lot, I still am very critical of myself. So the first step to getting your ish together is establishing a practice where you are able to be real with yourself. Before you start talking to other people, it's, can you at least tell yourself the truth? Sometimes we lie to other people, but can you tell yourself the truth? Because otherwise, you're not going to be able to get to the root of it. If the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, "I ain't afraid, I got this, I'm just not ready yet," then you lying to yourself, and it might not be something that's easy to identify. It might be something you have to dig deep for. And so that brings me to the second thing. So after I did the reflection, I was like, "Oh, all right, I'm scared about failing or not being ready." The second thing that I did is I called up my god sister, Camille. And I told her, I said, okay, I told her the story. I found somebody who's the bomb. I think they're going to be able to take me to the next level. And she was like, okay, I see you. And then I was like, yeah, but I didn't schedule the appointment yet. And she was like, looking at me like I was crazy. Like, what? What? And so she told me about myself. And so the second part is to really get vulnerable with someone that believes in you, that can pour into you, and that tends to have positive things to say. Don't go and tell somebody that don't know nothing about that life, whatever the life is, right? Like that has no conceptual idea of what you're experiencing, or doesn't have any wisdom to contribute. But identify the person that you can go to, that you feel like you can be vulnerable with, so that they can snap you out of it, so that you can have that affirmation from somebody else of saying, I see the positive and the power in you, and you can get it done, and there's no reason why you shouldn't. So that was the number 2. And so once you do that, when you're engaging with them, what you need to do is talk it out. So say, you're not used to having these conversations. Talk about, is it true? All those fears that you have about yourself. And if some of them may be true. Maybe maybe I'm not super awesome at speaking. But then the reality is, with that person that you're vulnerable with, you set intentions or plans about how you can rectify it. And so the third thing that you have to do after you get vulnerable with someone, you had these conversations, you keeping it 100, is that you make a commitment to feel the fear and do it anyway. And so this is a commitment that you're making to yourself, but you're making it to yourself with that person that has your back, with the person in your village, that brother, your sister, the elder, whomever that you can confide in to keep you accountable. So you make the commitment to yourself, they hear you, and they like, all right, and then if you don't do it, I'm going to say something. Like, you need somebody like that with you. And then the last step, the fourth one, you could probably guess what it is. It's to take the leap, right? It's the part that we are all afraid of, to actually go into the thing that you're afraid of. So this even applies if it's a person that you maybe don't have a positive relationship with, or they made you feel away, and you're avoiding having this courageous conversation with them. That's cool, Take the leap after you've taken the steps of reflecting on it, identifying what the fear is, articulating your emotions with the person in your village, and you make the commitment to yourself that you're going to do this, and you're going to do it all the way. And so with the last thing, when you're taking the leap, the thing that I think that helps the most alongside it is that you take the leap with the understanding that there is really no such thing as failure. I'm going to say that again. There is no such thing as failure. That truly all the things that we might consider failures are really lessons for you to be able to apply to help you get closer to actualizing that powerful vision for yourself or your destiny, right? So all the experiences that we happen in our life happen because we are supposed to learn that so that we can get to that path that we need to get to faster and more effectively. And so I'm going to recap the 4. It is be honest with yourself. Get a journal, boo. Get vulnerable with somebody who can pour into you and set the plan. 3, make a commitment to feel the fear and do it anyway with accountability. And 4, take the leap with the understanding that there is no possible way for you to fail, only for you to get the message or the lesson that you need to be successful. So that's really all I have.